Okay, today we're going to be upgrading from 2015.1 to 2017.1 Sage Fixed Asset Single User. If you want to do the progressive upgrade path, then that is going to take approximately an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the size of your company files and how many databases you have. The upgrade path for progression is you would first do a backup of your company files, all of your company files. If you have multiple databases with multiple companies in there, you would have to back each one of those up individually. Once that's complete, you would have to go into Programs and Features and uninstall your previous version of the application. Then you would install the next version of the application. Let it go through its database conversion. You would then open the application, perform another company file backup of each of your databases if you had multiple, with all of the companies being selected. Then you would go into Control Panel and you would remove the current application and you would install the next version of the application. As you can see, that progressive upgrade path can get pretty time consuming and very cumbersome. What we're going to do is do a single one-step upgrade from your current version to 2017.1. Let me clarify. We can do a in-place single upgrade if your current version is 2013.1 up to 2016.1. 2013.1, 2014.1, 2015.1, or 2 will require us to do a backup and remove the application. That's what we're going to do today. If you are currently running 2016.1 and you want to upgrade to 2017.1, then the only thing you would have to do is make sure that you have a current backup of your company files. That is in case of a catastrophic event. So during the upgrade, if something goes awry, you can remove the software, reinstall your version that you're currently running, which is 2016.1, do a restore of that company backup that you previously did, and then you can go through your upgrade process again. Okay, so we are going to do the 2015.1 upgrade to 2017.1. As I stated before, you would do a company file backup. So we would actually execute the application. And once we are in the application, we would then start performing our backup. Now, I'm not going to do a complete backup. I'm just going to go through the process until we get to the point where it's actually telling us to back up. So we would click on File, Company Utilities, Backup Company. First thing you want to check and see is how many databases do you have. Click the down arrow next to Database. If you only have one database, that's good. But if you notice in companies, we have 3 companies. So we would do Select All. If we click the down arrow and there's multiple databases in there, then we would start off by backing up the first database. We would select all. We would make sure that our PDFs stay intact, so we would want to back those up also. Then we would select Next. When we get to next, we would then give it a name. I like to be able to give it a naming convention that identifies the backup. In this case, we are doing a pre-2017 upgrade backup. So that's what I call it, pre-2017 upgrade backup. I will put a date in there, which is today's date is 09/21/2017, and I would put the time in there. Right now the time is 20:47, and on a 24-hour clock that is 8:47 p.m. Then we would click backup. That would go through the process of backing up our current data. Okay, so now we're going to just click cancel. You would actually go through the backup process. You would click backup and let the system go ahead and back up your company files. Once our backup is complete, then we would exit the application. Now, as I noted, with 2015.1 or 2 or 2013.1 or 2014.1, we have to remove the application from the system first in order to upgrade to 2017.1. So we would go into Control Panel, Programs and Features. We would then find our Sage Fixed Assets Depreciation application, click on it once, and tell it to uninstall. This will now begin the process to remove the application from our system. Here we would select Remove and click Next. And it will ask us to validate that we actually want to remove this application from the system. You have to confirm that you do. So we click OK. It will start the uninstall process for the current application, which is 2015.1. And as I stated before, 2013.1, 2014.1, 2015.1, and 2015.2 all have to be removed prior to upgrading to 2017.1. 2016.1 can be upgraded right there in place because there's no database schema change from 2016.1 to 2017.1. If you are currently running version 2012 on back, 2012, 2011, 2010, 2009, before you can upgrade to any version, you will have to have your data either converted for you by a professional service, or you would have to do a custom export of your current data in your current application, and you would have to do an import of that data into the new application. In later videos, I will be demonstrating how to do exports of data and doing a custom import into a new company file or a new version of the software. So if you bear with me, we'll let this finish installing. And the reason why I do not pause my videos when they are doing installs, it will give you an opportunity to see how much time you need to schedule in your maintenance window with your end users to have their systems offline so that you can do this upgrade. So what you're seeing now is actual time that it will take for you to do an upgrade from 2015, 2014, 2013.1 to 2017.1. This is just the removal process of the old version right now. Once this is completed, then what we'll do is do our 2017.1 install. Now you notice that we aren't removing any directories. We are just uninstalling the application. We're going to let those directories stay intact the way that they are. Now once this finishes, we will look at that directory real quick before we start our install of 2017.1. Okay, so now that is finished uninstalling. We'll let this refresh so that we can see that it is gone. Now, if you notice, we did not remove the Sage Advisor update. There's no reason to remove the Sage Advisor update. Okay, so we'll close out of this, and now we will look in our Windows Explorer, look at the C drive. We will go into Program Files x86. We will go down to the Sage Fixed Assets directory. This is our directory that the previous version was installed. Okay, then let's go back and we will go to our Common Files. You notice Sage SBD, that was created from our previous version. We'll leave that intact. Go back. Now we will go down to SAP Business Objects. That was created from the previous install. And our Sage directory was created from the previous install. So let's go to our directory where we have downloaded the 2017.1 Sage Fixed Assets zip file. What you would do is to right click on that zip file and tell it extract all. What that will do is pull out all of the files that are in the zip file and put it on your system here and in this subdirectory. Now if you notice, there's only one file that's in there, and that is the setup.exe file. Okay, so then we're going to right click on the setup.exe and we're going to tell it to run as administrator. There are a lot of people that just like to double click on that icon and tell it to run. If you do that, then you stand the chance of the information that needs to be written to the registry of this local system not being done. That is why it is imperative that you right click on that setup.exe and you tell it to run as administrator, because then it passes control to the local administrator account. The local administrator account is the one user that can allow anything to be done on this system, which is what the application needs, because it has to write information into the registry. It has to build registry keys. It has to build sub keys. Running the application as the local administrator ensures that that is accomplished. So we will go ahead and click on Run as Administrator, and we will let the install begin. Once we click on that and tell it Run as Administrator, we're going to validate, yes, we really do want you to run as administrator. Once that starts, then what we'll do, we can close this window and we just let it begin its installation. Here we come to a window and it is telling us this is what it's getting ready to do. Hey, I'm getting ready to install Sage Fixed Assets version 2017.1. It's pretty much asking you, is that all right for me to do? When you click next, you're telling it, yes, that's okay. So the next window that comes up, and this is very, very important, is the end user license agreement. In the past, I know that you have just said, oh, okay, it's just a EULA, an end user license agreement. We'll just go ahead and click through it. I would advise you to read that end user license agreement in its entirety. Take a little bit of time and just read it. You can come back and click next or yes when you get finished reading it. But you need to understand what it is you are getting ready to commit yourself to. Okay? You've already purchased the application. Now it's just saying these are the terms and agreements that you must abide by. So when we click yes, we're in essence telling the software and the software provider that I have read this, I have read the terms and conditions, and I agree to them 100%. So when you click yes, it comes up and now it's letting you know these are the applications, 3 applications that I'm going to install. This is the directory I'm going to install them in. Now, you as a customer know that you did not purchase 3 applications. You only purchased 1 application. In this case, we're installing fixed assets, single user depreciation. You know that you only purchased fixed assets, single user depreciation. Historically, customers have requested that why do we have to install each application individually? Why can't we do one-click install of all the applications? That's what's provided now. One-click installation of all applications, even if you didn't purchase them. One-click, all install. Okay, so we're going to click next. Told us what directory it's going to put it in. Of course, when we removed our previous application, we went to the directory that it was installed in, which is exactly the directory that is now being installed with 2017.1. So we will let this go ahead and install. Now that is writing all of the new files into those directories. Left the directories intact, but it's writing the new files that belong to 2017.1 single user into those directories. So it's removing old application information and installing and writing new application information. Now it's updating our registry. Running as administrator allows those registry entries to be written unimpeded. Now you see that it's publishing the application. The next thing it will do is update the component registrations, which is saying I have the old, now I'm installing the new, now I'm writing the new information out there. So it goes through that process. Okay, if you noticed, on my desktop now, there are 3 icons that the application put on there. Remember what we said? One click install all. That's what it just did. We clicked on onesetup.exe and it installed all 3 of the fixed assets application suite: depreciation, planning, and tracking. Okay? So let's let this finish writing to the registry. The updated information. Each one of these applications has information written into the registry. Okay, now it is removing all of those temporary files that it had to install on your system in order to do the upgrade. So now let's click Finish, and we are now upgraded to 2017.1 from 2015.1. Now, if you notice, from start to finish, doing the backup, removing the old application, installing the new application, took roughly, let's see, when we did our backup, remember we put a time on that backup. So let's go look at the backup, what time we put on that backup. So we go to User Files, I did not do a backup. That's right. You would be able to, I'm silly. You would be able to check your files and see what time you started. And that backup would be here. And of course it would have a time stamp on it because we put a date and a time on it. And if I'm not mistaken, when we started this, it was 2047. It was 8:47. So now it is 21:04, 9:04 p.m., which means that from start to finish, our upgrade took approximately 27 minutes. So that's the time that you would be looking at allocating for a single user upgrade from a previous version, 2013.1, 2014.1, 2015.1, 2015.2. That would be the time that would be needed in order to complete that upgrade. Now the upgrade is completed. You know that you only purchased one application. You didn't purchase 3 applications, but you have 3 icons on your desktop. In order to relieve confusion for the end user, you could do one of 2 things with these other 2 icons. You can click on one and then click on the next one, holding down your control key, right click and tell it to delete. That's the expedient way. The right way to do it would be to go into Control Panel, Programs and Features, go down to where the application is listed. Sage Fixed Assets, click on it and tell it to change. We'll let the dialog come up and we will make our selection. Since we told it to change, the next thing we want to do is tell it to modify. So we select modify and then we click next. Then since we only purchased depreciation, we did not purchase tracking or planning, we just uncheck those boxes and we click next. We let this go through the process that it is going to go through, and it will remove those applications from our system. It will also remove those applications from our desktop right here. In a few seconds, you will see those icons go away. There they went. So they are no longer there. So now we click finish. We close out. Now, one thing that I think is very imperative, we made a backup once we realized that we were going to do our upgrade. Once we do the upgrade, we want to do a backup. So I am going to double click and I am going to start the depreciation application. I will tell it to register later. You would tell it to go ahead and click next and click on day 1 of 30, and we would tell it to register. Here you would put in your serial number and activation key. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell it to launch the product. Once the user information dialog box comes up, you would want to fill in this information. The application will continue to display this dialog until you do fill in that information. I'm going to click cancel because I really don't care if it keeps popping up, and it tells me that incomplete user information warning. So we're letting the application start. Now, once we're inside the application, as you can see, we are running Sage Fixed Assets Depreciation. That is the single user version. We are running version 2017.1. That is the version number. Another way to find that information is to click on Help, About Sage Fixed Assets. Tells us we are running Sage Fixed Assets Depreciation, which it says here, and version 2017.1, which it says here. When you fill in your information, it will put that information here. It will say who the user is, it will say the company, and it will say the customer number. Okay? Then the next thing we would want to do is to do a company file backup. So we would go into File, Company Utilities, Backup Company. We would select our companies, select all, make sure that we include PDF attachments, and next. Now we would give it a name, Company Backup Post 2017 Upgrade. Give it a time, 09/21/2017 at 2110. And then you would click Backup. Now you have a pre-upgrade backup and you have a post-upgrade backup. Better safe than sorry. Then once that is done, we can exit the application and our upgrade is complete.